I like your shirt.
Well, it's almost like I got this somewhere I was with you.
And I have my
almost.
I have my New Orleans coffee mug right here.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's your kitty in the background.
That's one of them. Yeah. Wrong way. She's trying to go. Oh, she went in her hole.
She's camera shy. So we recorded last week, but unfortunately, I made a technical snafu, and we had basically I didn't have my headphones in, and there was this gigantic echo throughout the whole episode. So the audio, everything was unusable. So yeah.
This guy is Water Pokemon Master. If you're not familiar, he happens to run this website called PokeBeach.
Yes.
I am Justin Basil of JustinBasil.com, and this is the PokeBeach.com podcast, which you are definitely listening to right now.
Welcome. Yeah. So I feel like it's been a pretty quiet couple of weeks, but we did get the full reveal of the Team Rocket set. So
we did.
I think we should go over the cards that you're most excited about. So the set, as we've talked about, will become part of our Destined Rivals on May 30th. There is no Jesse and James in the set, at least not yet, but probably there isn't. We haven't seen all the secret rares yet, but they've, I think the best theory is that they've been written out of the anime. So, there's just, they don't want to include them anymore, I guess. And then,
yeah, I mean, they're also like, I know people are like, well, they're in the games. Like, well, they're in the games that are based on the anime, basically. Or they're heavily influenced by the anime. They're not really in the regular games. Yeah. As much as we love Jesse and James, like I kind of get it. Like it's still annoying. Don't get me wrong. I would have been happy to see them too. But also remember that the last time they got a card, it got banned and expanded. So.
Well, they were in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee,
which is based on Yellow.
Right. Which was an anime game. But this set already breaks rules by having like Rocket's Orbeetle. And Team Rocket disbanded in Kanto and Johto when you defeated them. So to me, it's like, well, they shouldn't even be. They're technically they're not supposed to be operating in other regions at this point. So why not have?
Here's the thing: it's not even a matter of them. What if it's not even a matter of them operating in those other regions? What if we just didn't know they had those Pokemon? Like, because Pokemon get introduced all the time retroactively to the new games. Like, right. Well, they existed.
That's true. They do technically, even though they don't really in real life. But I just think it's a little. Oh, let's talk about that too. Like, with them having like a Team Rocket's Orbeetle and all that. My first reaction when I saw that reveal was like, this doesn't feel right. Like, why does Team Rocket have an Orbeetle? But then when my deeper brain kicked in, I was like, well, I mean, it makes sense. Like, it's a new set. Why not try to show them with something different? Mm-hmm. Why not try to, there's a whole roster of over 1,000 Pokemon. Why not give them something different?
They've stolen something, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. We've had 2 Team Rocket sets before, so why not switch it up? So, like, for me, it was like my initial brain reaction was, oh, what is this? And then I was like, no, actually, that does make sense. And why not introduce why not introduce them to something new? So now I kind of like it.
And then when there was Team Rainbow Rocket in Gen 7 also. So that, I mean, obviously that doesn't incorporate Orbeetle, but at the same time that does still introduce the possibility of newer Pokemon, even though these aren't necessarily Rainbow Rocket cards, but all the same. Team Rocket is just one of those things that kind of is always a whisper in the background.
Yeah, it's just like, for me, it's like, well, if they're going to include Orbeetle and like break the rules, why not break the rules and have Jesse and James? But like, that's why I think that was more of because of the anime that they don't want to remind you. Maybe they don't want to remind people that they're gone. I don't know.
So go look at these characters that you loved for like 20-something years. Here, by the way, dangle.
Well, they got rid of Ash, but yeah. Well, I guess we're not. It's not like we're having an Ash set or like an anime set or something, and they're excluding Ash. But we are having a Team Rocket set that's excluding literally the mascots of Team Rocket. But anyway, all right. So and then with this set, we got the final artwork for the Tailo and the Mankey completing this year's connected illustration, or the one so far this year for the connected illustration. Yanma from Heatwave Arena, the illustration rare, also kind of is part of it, but not really. It's like part of the same setting, but not directly connected to the art. They are all drawn by Ayoko Ozaki. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll start a new set of connected illustrations with the Mega Evolution sets later this year. And then after this set, we don't have a set in May, so we're going to have to wait till June 6th for Black Bolt and White Flare, which we will get in July as our special set, featuring all 156 Unova Pokemon, just like 151. So, okay, let's get into the cards that we haven't discussed yet. What are you most excited about?
Let's go to Rotom and talk briefly about Rotom, shall we?
Sure.
So this set introduced a bunch of Rotom variants. They're all based on this whole Gadget Show attack. Gadget Show was introduced originally in Heat Wave Arena on the regular Rotom, the Lightning type one, but they introduced the Rotom, the Heat Rotom, and the Wash Rotom all with this Gadget Show attack. It has... So for 2 colorless energy, you're doing 30 times damage. This attack does 30 damage for each tool card attached to all of your Pokemon. So at least in theory, you could reload your side up with a bunch of tool cards and then be hitting for important weaknesses against opposing Pokemon. So Rotom, of course, would be hitting Charizard for weakness. That's really the most important one. But as the meta evolves, of course, you change it up. I think it's vaguely interesting. It may not necessarily be a standard format card right now, since we don't have any sort of double energy that these guys could take advantage of. There's no twin energy. There's no double turbo energy, double colorless energy. But I think they're very interesting cards. And as somebody who spends a decent amount of time playing in the Eternal format, this card interests me. And its sisters interest me because of this kind of Gadget Show attack. So it's fun to me, I think. We also, let's go to, let's look. We've talked about some of these. So I guess we're going to talk about the newer reveals because we've talked about a lot of these actually. Let's see here. Arbolliva EX. This is one of those ones that I feel is just kind of disappointing. It's an EX, but I think it's worth talking about just because it's an EX. So it has the attack Oil Machine Gun for a single Grass energy. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 6 times and do 20 damage to it. You can choose the same Pokemon more than once. This damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So at least in theory, you're doing 120 damage across your opponent's Pokemon. If you have something like a Choice Band that would affect the Pokemon that would affect, then sure, you're increasing your damage, or something like Defiance Band. But that would only affect the active Pokemon. So if you're targeting a bench Pokemon, you don't get the boot bonus. I don't know. It just feels really weak. And then Aroma Shot does 160 damage, and the Pokemon recovers from all special conditions. So Arbolliva, heals whatever special condition happens to be afflicting it.
What would you say is like the top card of the whole set?
I think most of the great cards in this set are ones we've either already seen, like Team Rocket's Moltres EX, which is very interesting.
We talked about it last week on the Lost episode.
Had we not talked about it prior to that?
Did we? No, that was part of last week's episode.
Okay. So Team Rocket's Moltres EX for Fire Double Colors has Flame Screen and does 110 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 less damage from attacks. After applying weakness and resistance. And then Evil Burn, discard a Team Rocket's energy from this Pokemon. If you do, discard your opponent's active Pokemon and all attached cards. Now, playability-wise, this may not be the best with what we currently have, but Evil Burn is definitely something to keep an eye on. Because if somebody figures out how to power it up regularly, maybe by using something like the Ethan's engine and some energy switches, or Armarouge, for example, this could theoretically be a menace. Theoretically. Though you are not taking prize cards for it, so that could also limit it too.
But you could clear it's at least
interesting.
Their field, or maybe
I don't know if you necessarily would get that far, but you would really struggle, make them struggle.
Yeah,
because you are discarding them, so they have to try to recover it. So if they have some big loaded up Pokemon, or if they're trying to be like some super tanky Pokemon, that may not really work against this Rockets archetype, just because you have that effect there to discard their active Pokemon.
All right.
I think another card worth looking at is Blaziken. Blaziken has So it has an attack called Heat Blast for 2 colorless. That does 70 damage, and then for fire colorless, you have Inferno Legs. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, and this attack also does 120 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. You're not applying weakness or resistance for benched Pokemon. And the reason this is interesting is because we already have Blaziken EX, so this would theoretically be a card you could tack into those decks as like a single prizer that you could lean on if you needed to. Since you're already running the Blaziken EX line, you would be able to just throw this in for a single card, which could theoretically be useful in very niche situations. And the sniping effect is not bad. Like it's 120 snipe, so as long as you're not trying to target a Tera Pokemon, you're getting the benefit of it, right? Also, a small note too: we get a 70 HP Torchic with Collect, so that's kind of just an instant upgrade for Torchic.
And it's got cute
and
art.
You can see it has great art. Yes, it does. You also see, I'm not really going to go over this because we kind of already talked about, but Heat Rotom. So if you wanted to build the Heat Rotom deck or the Rotom deck, there's another Rotom for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Team Rocket's Articuno is interesting. It has the ability Resistance Veil. Prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to your basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. Damage is not an effect. So, Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX, which we definitely have talked about on a prior episode, because it was like one of the very first reveals. That has 280 HP and is very bulky and can be made bulkier with various things, right? So, wise opponent would maybe think, well, if I just hit it with Roaring Moon EX and just instant KO it, I'll be fine. Well, this says no. That's exactly what this effect says. It basically says that effect of an attack not going to happen. So if Roaring Moon becomes an issue against Team Rocket's Mewtwo, then Team Rocket's Articuno also probably very interesting. This also can shield your evolving Pokemon, your evolving Team Rocket's Pokemon, from the effects of the attacks of Dragapult TX, which, frankly, seeing as its best deck in the format at the moment, that seems kind of useful. So if you're trying to evolve up into your little Spidops, well, guess what? You're going to have to protect the basic, because if you don't protect the basics, then, well, you're going to have some very exploded bugs all over the place, and your tarantulas aren't going to like that. So, but yeah.
Another Rotom.
Let's see here. What else? Unfortunately, Team Rocket Zapdos is just not that great. The effect of the first attack is interesting, but not good. Team Rocket's Ampharos is not that good either. It's a cool callback, but unfortunately, the non-stacking makes it not super great.
We got a new Chingling after how many years?
And it has to be a Team Rocket's Chingling, because
James.
We all know that Chingling was off doing some naughty stuff.
Yeah, well, James has a Chimecho, so maybe that's why they did it.
Maybe. But it does have ringing noise, and it's got free retreat. This is the absolute card you're going to throw in your decks during pre-release, because that free retreat is so good. One card that's definitely worth talking about, though, is this Mimikyu here. So it has the attack Gem Mimicry for Psychic Colorless. Choose an attack on your opponent's active Tera Pokemon and use it as the effect of this attack. So if they've got that Dragapult in the active spot and they're trying to terrorize your Pokemon, you throw your Mimikyu in the active spot, drop the Rocket's energy on it, and just start terrorizing them back and really give it to them. I think it's a fun little counter. And of course, there are other very interesting Tera Pokemon that's kind of copy, but
it's weird.
I like the idea.
This is a pre-release promo for Destined Rivals, but there's no Tera Pokemon in the set.
So that doesn't really matter, because they include stuff in the pre-release stuff all the time that doesn't really interact with any of the cards in the set.
Do they have Tera cards in those decks? Are they? But do they?
They're meant for the meta. But the thing is, I hesitate to call them pre-release promos, because they're not even promo cards. They're literally just stamps.
Yeah, these ones are now. So,
yeah, which is kind of lame.
Wait, but like this is in the deck though, right? So like why? But why did they pick this if it's? You're just saying
because it's still an important card for the set.
I see. You're saying it's for the larger game. It's not just for the pre-release.
The pre-release promos are always for the larger game.
Oh, okay.
They don't really see, they're not designed necessarily for pre-release play. They're designed for the larger game.
I see.
Sometimes some of them do really well in pre-release, and that's cool, but that's not what they're designed for. Like Chen Pao was a pre-release promo a while back, and most of the time stadium cards just don't show up in pre-release because they're not very common. But Chin-Pao was still the pre-release promo.
I see.
For that set.
Oh.
And yeah, sure. But it's like theoretically, at least it's very useful in standard. Obviously, at the time we had lost vacuum, so it was less useful. Now, if we have a very hostile stadium, I think it would be more played. But as it is now, it's not.
How about Arbok?
We have, I was going to say, Arbok is probably our next most interesting card. We have Intimidating Glare. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent can't play any Pokemon that has an ability from their hand, excluding Team Rocket's Pokemon. Which is pretty nasty. This reminds me of a Chimecho from Crimson Invasion, I believe it was. Let me look at the exact wording. Chimecho. Yes, Crimson Invasion. So it had Bell of Silence. It did 10 whole damage as an attack, but it made it so your opponent couldn't play any Pokemon that had an ability from their hand. This very much reminds me of that. The only difference is, of course, this is something that has to be an active spot and is an evolution Pokemon to get to that stage. So we'll see. But it's a very interesting card all the same. I think it could see some sort of play in maybe a control archetype.
And then for Triple Darkness, Spinning Tail, this attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't think you're probably ever really attacking with this, but the attack does exist.
And then we had Team Rock. I was going to say Giovanni's Nidoking EX. We have Team Rocket's Nidoking EX. Is this any good?
Yep.
I mean...
I mean, it's vaguely interesting, but probably not, especially now that Radiant Hisuian Sneasler has rotated out of standard. So for those of you who are interested, it has an attack called Dirty Horns for dark colorless. It does 100 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During Pokemon checkup, put 8 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. The attack cost here is kind of what's throwing me off. If it were just the 2 darkness, where the Rocket's energy could throw that or fill that attack cost, I think it could be pretty good. With that 3rd attack cost on there, I don't feel great about that. Its other attack for triple dark colorless just does 240 straight damage, and it's called King's Impact. It's one of those cards that maybe with a little bit of support somewhere it could be good, but as is, probably not. We have Crobat and Golbat, which are kind of callbacks to previous versions of Golbat. Team Rocket's Golbat has Sneaky Bite. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. The thing that bothers me about this card in particular is that the card that it's copying, if you will, is from forever ago. Let me get the exact set so I'm not messing this up.
Oh, and you're saying that you're saying they didn't
the damage literally has not grown.
Yeah, they didn't up the damage, so it's kind of like
it's from Phantom Forces. I was right. Okay, yeah, Phantom Forces, and it's still the same exact damage output. And Pokemon HP has doubled since then.
Yeah,
but we have not increased the damage counter output. Even if it just moved to 3 damage counters, I could see that being better. But the fact that it's not is kind of frustrating. And then Team Rocket's Crobat EX has the ability Bite About. When you play the Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Again, the split is kind of nice, but it's only 2, so meh. And then you do have Assassin's Return, which is kind of worth noting. For 2 Darkness Energy, Assassin's Return does 120 damage. You put this Pokemon into your hand, but you discard all attached cards, which is not so great. And we have... so Team Rocket's Koffing and Weezing are both interesting. I think we'll talk about them real quick. You have the ability Alert Smog on Team Rocket's Koffing. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon with Koffing in their name and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. It also has Gas Leak, which does 30 damage for dark colors, but that's not what we're there for. So this is a way to get a bunch of Koffing into play, right? And it just says Koffing in their name. So in Standard, this is probably just Team Rocket's Koffing and Koffing. But in Expanded and in Eternal, that could also be Galarian. You could be evolving up into Galarian, right? Mm-hmm. So Koffing obviously itself, I can't talk. Koffing itself, right, is just going to be Koffing or Team Rocket's Koffing, but the Weezings can split all over the place, which could make for some very interesting decks that have lots of Weezings and Koffings in play. And this is, I think, the way to help you do that.
Can I just
and
say
Team Rocket's Weezing part
wait, can I just say I really like the art on all these cards.
I like the Koffing a lot, and the Weezing is very Rocket-y to me. Like it screams Team Rocket.
Yeah, it totally feels like it's from like the original Team Rocket set or something. Like there's just something about it that feels so nostalgic to me.
I feel like it's trying to mimic an art already.
Yeah, like same with the Muk too. It kind of looks familiar in a way. I really like these cards, the artwork.
Yeah, the Team Rocket's Weezing kind of reminds me vaguely of Dark Weezing.
Yeah,
like it's facing the opposite direction, but it has that same kind of. I don't know. It just reminds me of that card.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Team Rocket's Weezing is interesting because you have All Out Explosion. So you're using Team Rocket's energy to do this. Obviously, All Out Explosion does 40 times damage, and it does 40 damage for each Pokemon in play with Koffing or Weezing in its name. So if you have something like Skyfield or Area Zero Under Depths in play, we're going to say Skyfield for the sake of simplicity. That's 8 times 40 damage. Right? Obviously, you're going to drop that to 7 for Area Zero. What's that?
Is that 320? I can't math.
Yeah. Anyway, you're doing quite a lot of damage, right? And even down to 7, if you have to have a Tera Pokemon in play, you're still doing a fairly significant amount of damage. On a single prizer that you can power up for a single attack cost. The only downside to this is, at least in standard, you're kind of limited to the Rocket's energy are kind of limited, so you'd have to kind of pair this up with something like reversal energy to use on turns where you're not, or where you are behind on prize cards, to have enough energy to use all of your Team Rocket's energy as you go through the game.
I really hope they release this Weezing in Cosmos Hollow Foil.
Yeah, it would be very pretty.
Yeah, I want that. Or sorry, yeah. I was gonna say Galaxy. I always say Galaxy and Cosmos. What else do we want to talk about?
Let's talk briefly about the Sneasler too. Team Rocket's Sneasel. Sorry, Team Rocket's Sneasel has the attack Scratch, which does 20 damage, and I feel like this is probably the card that was intended to pair up with the Crobat and Golbat line. It has Backstab for Double Dark. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon for each damage counter already on that Pokemon. Don't apply weakness or resistance for benched Pokemon. So this allows you to rack up the damage with Crobat and Golbat and then finish them off with Sneasel. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, if they are a Tera Pokemon, they have inbuilt bench protection that you cannot shut off. So there's that.
I still think it's so funny that bench protection has absolutely nothing to do with Tera Pokemon from the games. Like, it's not conceptually... It just doesn't make sense conceptually with what Tera Pokemon are in the games. I really feel like they fumbled...
Yeah, they have it.
I really feel like they fumbled this generation with Tera cards. It's just... It feels like they didn't live up to their potential.
Yeah, their flavoring kind of wasn't so great in the TCG, unfortunately.
Yeah,
a lot of the interest or the uniqueness that they had in the video games was very much lost in the TCG.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Do we want to talk about any of the trainers yet, or do you still have some Pokemon to go over?
I think that's probably it for Pokemon. There's really nothing else to talk about in the Pokemon line. There are some trainer cards that are definitely interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of them, I don't think we talked about any of them on an episode that went public. Team Rocket's Archer will start off there. You can play this card only if your Team Rocket's Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck. Then you draw 5 cards and your opponent draws 3. This is basically a fairer Marnie, to put it nicely. So you're having to use it if one of your Team Rocket's Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. You can't just throw it down. But the flip side of that is your opponent does draw 1 fewer card. So there's that. I think it's decent. And there's the card that was revealed a few weeks ago, the Rockets Receiver, Team Rockets Receiver, that just lets you find a supporter card in your deck with Team Rockets in its name, which is super good. That just makes super consistent everything for Team Rocket. Very reminiscent. In Gen 3, there was the Hollons engine, very reminiscent of that, which makes sense because Gen 9's TCG has, in large degree, kind of modeled itself after the Gen 3 experience in general with Pokemon EX and now with Hollins. It's all very much in that same flavor. There's Team Rocket's Ariana. Draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If all of your Pokemon in play are Team Rocket's Pokemon, draw until you have 8 cards in your hand instead. So this is just a good draw supporter for Rocket's archetypes. Also very nice. There is the Stadium card, Team Rocket's Factory. Once during each player's turn, if that player played a supporter card with Team Rockets in its name from their hand during that turn, that player may draw 2 cards, which is also nice. This means that Team Rocket's Ariana, if you have Rocket's Factory in play, basically says draw until you have 7 cards in your hand, and if all of your Pokemon play are Team Rockets, draw until you have 10 cards in your hand instead, which is super strong. Big consistency boost for this kind of archetype. And again, you can find Ariana because you have access to that receiver. It's really strong. Team Rocket's Giovanni. Everybody immediately said it's Guzma. It's similar to Guzma, not quite Guzma. Still very good, and you're absolutely going to be running it in your deck. Switch your active Team Rockets Pokemon with one of your benched Team Rockets Pokemon. If you do, switch in one of your opponent's benched Pokemon to the active spot. So as long as you're playing a heavy Rockets archetype, you can get a nice gust, so long as you can switch your Rockets Pokemon with another Rockets Pokemon on your bench. Very good effect. Absolutely will see play. Team Rocket's Great Ball. It's Captivating Aroma for Team Rocket. It's even worse than Captivating Aroma. We'll skip it. Team Rocket's Intruder Robot. Choose one of your opponent's face-down prize cards and a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those cards. You may have your opponent switch the revealed cards. That prize card remains face-up for the rest of the game. This is one of those very niche cards that maybe in a very specific archetype could find some use. But as is, this just feels like a card that's very... Well, Team Rocket would have some sort of gimmick like this, right? And that's kind of how it comes off, as I don't know how useful it actually is. Team Rocket's Receiver, we've already talked about in a previous episode of the PokeBeach podcast. You're searching for a supporter with Team Rockets in its name. You're putting it to your hand. This is an item card, which means you just have a big amount of consistency in finding the supporter cards you want in your deck. Team Rocket's Petrel is Skyla. You're searching your deck for a trainer card, revealing it, putting it in your hand, then you're shuffling your deck. So if you need to find a specific stadium card, like, I don't know, Team Rocket's Factory, ta-da. So you find the Factory card and get to draw 2 cards off of it, or whatever card you actually needed, and get to draw if you have that in play already. One of the most important cards, I think, in this set, and probably my favorite of the reveals, was Team Rocket's Proton. If you go first, you may use this card during your first turn. Search your deck for up to 3 basic Team Rockets Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. This is Pokemon Collector for Team Rocket. It's very good. This, paired up with Rocket's Receiver, basically guarantees that any Rocket deck is going to set itself up. And since if they do go first, they can play this. Team Rocket's archetype is not going to be disadvantaged going first. In fact, if anything, they'll be at an advantage because they will have this, whereas a lot of decks won't have a supporter card they either can or want to use on their first turn. This card is super good to me. What do you think?
What do we think that with these owner sets and everything? What do we think of this Team Rocket deck archetype? Or like, is it going to? Do you think it's going to take off? Is it going to launch?
I think
like a rocket.
It's going to blast off again. I think it actually is going to probably be a couple of different decks. I don't think it's just going to be necessarily one.
So I
think there's probably going to be some sort of Mewtwo archetype, maybe a Crobat archetype. There'll be a few.
Because I think you said on one episode that the owner's Pokemon weren't really taking off in Japan so far.
Right.
But this seems like it's a lot more powerful than the other ones that we've seen. It's got a lot more support.
Yeah, I mean,
there are a lot more cards than, there
are. I mean, literally half of our Destined Rival set is Rockets, right? We'll see. I do think that it is meta dependent. Maybe these cards get smoked or get kind of suffocated out by the rest of the meta. Maybe Dragapult's too oppressive. It could be anything. I do still think that Team Rocket's Mewtwo in particular could see some play. Then again, its limitation on damage output might be enough to prevent it from seeing success. So it really is going to come down to how do these cards actually translate in the current meta when they release.
Yeah.
If they were to come out right now for us, I don't know if they necessarily would succeed right away. It could be another situation where it's like Hop and Lily and stuff, where they just, as a deck, they don't really survive, and maybe a card or two comes out and does something in another deck. But I still think I like Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. So there is one more card I think that's very much worth noting, and that's Team Rocket's Watchtower.
Oh yeah.
This stadium card is quite something. It says, colorless Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents have no abilities.
Yeah.
This is shutting off Pidgeot EX. This is shutting off Noctowl. This is shutting off the Dunsparce. This is shutting off Fan Rotom. Like, this is shutting off a large number of utility Pokemon right now. And it's kind of interesting that this is just in the single card. Now, obviously, they had something similar to this back in Gen 3. I don't think it was a stadium card. I think it was another Pidgeot, actually. But the fact remains, this card is going to be a menace for a lot of decks. Because this is something the Rockets archetype can just drop and say, you don't get to play the game. Make sure you have something to counter this. Now, this could be simply bait to make us play Ruffian in our decks, or maybe forcing us to acknowledge the fact that some decks are underplaying stadium cards. But I think this card's pretty good still.
I'm kind of excited. Like, if I were to jump into the game right now, I would kind of want to play a Team Rocket deck just for the nostalgia and for the fact it seems like it has a lot of support.
Yeah, that's cool.
So for the secret rares, they haven't really revealed a lot, which is really interesting. They also usually reveal a couple when they drop the main set, but they didn't do that this time. So oddly, we only have 6 reveals. They also didn't reveal any this past weekend, the weekend that we're recording this episode. So I don't know why they're holding back this time. We haven't seen the Mewtwo either. So I guess we'll see him next week, or I guess when I
maybe
post
they
it.
know the demand is already going to be so high that they don't want to
Bother
make it ridiculous out of the gate.
I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, Team Rocket's Orbeetle, that's kind of cool, I think.
It's very stylized. I kind of like it.
Yeah. I like the Clamperl. I think it's pretty. Zamazenta's pretty. We've talked about it before. I think they're all pretty good, actually. So we've got a lot more to be revealed. So it'll be a fun week this coming week to see all of them get posted by Japanese fans, because I don't think they're going to officially reveal too many more. And then we also got some new Pokemon Center merchandise that was revealed. This is releasing at the same time as the other merchandise we had previously talked about, but they held back revealing it until they posted the main cards from the set, because I'm assuming they figured it was going to spoil what's in the set. So we're getting that connected artwork on card sleeves, getting Wobbuffet and Mimikyu, which again, these are Jesse and James Pokemon. But there's no Jesse and James. So it's like they're eliciting Jesse and James, but they're just not giving us Jesse and James. So I'm just, it's like, whatever.
That's cool. Ampharos and Tyranitar with the Arcanine. That's Growlithe though, actually, isn't it? Yeah,
oh,
Growlithe.
you just pulled a 4Kids error. There was that one
to be
episode.
fair, the image on my screen is smaller than a postage stamp, so give me a break.
in the one of the Pokemon League episodes, Officer Jenny has a Growlithe, and she says, "Arcanine, use like flamethrower or whatever," and then the Growlithe goes, the Growlithe goes, "Arr!" The Growlithe didn't even know what it was. So yeah. We'll get more secret rares this coming week, and then this will be in our Destined Rivals set in May. So I'm kind of excited for this set. I do wish it had, like I said a million times, Jesse and James, but other than that, like, I'm really looking forward to seeing if we get some Cosmos holofoil versions of these cards in English. I'm definitely going to pick those up. I really hope they do Weezing and Arbok.
Watch them just drop a Here Comes Team Rocket card with Jesse and James on it as a secret rare.
I mean,
call it a day.
Yeah, they're not gonna. There's no regular version of it. But yeah,
was there a regular version of it before?
Yeah, it's right here. I mean, not when we had the secret rare. I mean, in EX Team Rocket Returns, we didn't have secret rares back then like we do now. But yeah, it was
because the version in Eeveelutions was just a secret rare.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't count. That's Eeveelutions is.
And the version of Team Rocket's Return was just it's a secret rare.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is nowadays they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do just a secret rare version and not a regular version. Every secret rare is based off of a regular version.
You don't know. They could go back to their ways.
I mean, they could. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I would go for it. So, but yeah,
you'd be like, top card of the set must have Jesse and James.
I mean, that would really sell the set, I think, if they threw those in. But I get the feeling that they have a rule now that they're not going to show them anymore because they're not in the anime. Anyway, I don't know. All right, so then we also got a reveal of new gym promos: Psyduck, Golduck, and Team Rocket's Team Rocket's Kangaskhan EX featuring Giovanni, and then a new Rocket Tool card. So the Psyduck and Golduck have very interesting abilities. They have the ability, his name is Damp. Each player's Pokemon that has an ability with an effect that knocks out that Pokemon does not have that ability. And these were hard for you guys to translate. You were trying to figure out the wording.
They were a nightmare.
Yeah, we
were an absolute nightmare.
We had 3 different translators trying to make this make sense. But yeah, this is actually how Damp works in the video games. So it's kind of cool to see them translate that into the card game. But they're doing this specifically for, what are they doing this for? Who are they targeting with this?
This card is almost certainly going to be targeting, I should say, the Dusclops and Dusknoir line from Shrouded Fable, to try to put a damper on the fact that they're kind of exploding a little too often in the TCG right now.
Yeah, this is one of those cards where they are so specifically targeting something. It's like, sorry, we did this. We want. Yeah. It's like it's very hackish.
It's like we're trying not to ban this card and that card, and this is how we're going to try to avoid banning it for now.
Yeah. And then we got the Team Rocket's Kangaskhan EX, double colorless, Comet Punch, 30 times damage. Flip 4 coins. This attack does 30 damage for each heads. And then for triple colorless, Dark Impact, 120 plus damage. If you played a supporter card with Team Rockets in its name from your hand during this turn, this attack does 100 more damage. I'm wondering if they're gonna.
It's bad.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they'll throw this into the into our Destined Rivals set or something, because this would be weird to come out later. Like, for them to throw this into a set later on.
Honestly, a lot of this stuff would be kind of weird. How many cards were there? Were 5 of them, right? That were revealed?
I know I should have looked beforehand, because I even posted in this. I was so tired that night. I posted in the story, maybe this will be in Destined Rivals. And I was like, I'm sure the numbers tell us if there's room for it, but I was too tired to look. But this is going to be weird if they throw this into a random set. And it'll also
the only thing is, this would be really, really early for them to put in Destined Rivals, because usually they take like 6 months.
Right. Unless they planned for it ahead of time. They could have maybe done that in this case. But yeah, I mean, they could do a promo box later on maybe, and then have like.
But that wouldn't do the Hypnosis device, right? And the Hypnosis device is a trainer card. They wouldn't just.
Yeah.
It's a good card too. They wouldn't just not put it in there.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one.
Maybe they will have it in time for Destined Rivals. Team Rocket's Hypnosis device is a tool. If the Team Rocket's Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an opponent's attack, even if it's knocked out, the attacking Pokemon is now asleep.
Yeah.
Right up Team Rocket's alley with this card.
Yeah, very much so.
So yeah, we don't know how we'll get those cards, but we'll see.
They're all cool, and I would love to have them in Destined Rivals. I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yeah. And then we also got the I posted the for our special English set releasing on July 18th based on Japan's Black Bolt and White Flare. We got most of the products lineup revealed. Our English set will see the release of 2 Elite Trainer boxes featuring Reshiram or Zekrom. Big surprise. 2 binder collections featuring Reshiram or Zekrom. 1 poster collection and 8 mini tins. So this will be the first set of products to release, which is pretty much lines up with what we got for Prismatic Evolutions, almost. And then in January we had talked about there's going to be 2 tech sticker collections and 2 illustration rare boxes releasing on August 1st. And then we had also revealed before that on August 22nd, the set will see the release of 2 booster bundles. I don't know if that's still true. I don't know if that was like a distributor error when they posted that, but if that is true, this will be the first set to feature 2 booster bundles. So we theorized back then, well, maybe that means that the set is going to be split in 2, like the Japanese sets. But I don't want to go that far to claim that yet because I don't know if it is actually going to get 2 booster bundles. So
yeah, I doubt it.
These listings are always preliminary. It's based on, I find them through what distributors post to their websites. So sometimes, the distributors aren't so versed in Pokemon and they just post things and they're not always like accurate. Other times they do turn out to be accurate and it is a change. So it's kind of hard to tell. And then we should probably get a premium collection as well, as we always do for these types of sets, but nothing has been announced yet. So, that's the product lineup so far. And then we should get the reveal of this set in the next month or so. It's the Black Bolt and White Flare.
Well, we should see the Japanese version of this set revealed probably in what, like 2-ish weeks?
No.
Maybe 3?
No, I think it'll be in a month. Because
its full reveal is in just over a month.
Is it? June, right. I don't know. I can't do math or calendars or dates. But yeah, I think it'll be... Because if it's releasing, what did I say, June 5th? Is that what I said? No, it's not June 5th. What did I put? Oh, July 18th is when the Japanese set releases. It's right here. So then the full reveal would be July 10th. So then they'd probably start revealing it like maybe the week of June 6th. Yeah, so I think...
Yeah, so the full reveal for Black Bolt and White Flare should be May 29th. So next month. End of the month.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I was saying July 18th is the English set reveal. I'm sorry. I was getting confused.
Yeah, I was talking about the Japanese sets.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew you were. I just got the date wrong. So sorry. The Japanese set releases when? The June what? June.
So.
Sorry. The Japanese set releases
Japanese
June 6th.
set comes up June 6th.
Yeah. So then June 6th, the full reveal would be May 29th, and then they could start revealing it April 20. Yeah, you're right. So 2-3 weeks or so. Okay, that's good. So we'll have card reveals coming.
I'll get a brief respite and then go back to getting up half an hour earlier.
Yeah, I had to do that for 20-ish years, and I'm glad that your schedule allows you to sort of do do that now.
Sort of, yeah. Not Wednesdays anymore, unfortunately. Well, not
for the live
days,
stream reveals, yeah. Black Bolt White Flare coming soon for reveals. And then so we also got another Chinese exclusive card revealed, this Tera Arcanine EX. China will be getting it in their Fearless Terrestrial set, releasing on May 16th. This will be introducing, this is their third main Scarlet and Violet set. So it's covering from Scarlet and Violet through, what did we say? It was
Obsidian Flames.
Obsidian
covering
Flames.
Cards from that.
Yeah, they didn't reveal anything from Obsidian Flames yet, but it's obviously going to have cards from Obsidian Flames based off the last 2 sets. So as we've talked about before, China has been releasing compilation sets since 2022 to catch up to the rest of the world. They started with Sun and Moon. Now they're up to early Scarlet and Violet. So they're catching up with us. They are getting these exclusive cards that we've seen before, like from the Pokemon Go sets that they had, from the 151 sets. None of those have released anywhere else in the world because they are older cards, but with new artwork. So there's no reason to release them in Japan or America because we've long moved on from those sets. So there's no reason to expect this Arcanine is going to release anywhere else in the world. So if you want to get it, you're going to have to import it from Japan. The artwork, I think, is very pretty. I like the rainbow effect on the ground here. I'm going to probably post a news story next week talking about how Trump's tariffs are going to dramatically increase the costs of Chinese cards, Japanese cards, Korean cards in America. So if you're going to try to get these cards, it's going to cost you more if you're ordering boxes of the set or whatever, because store owners are going to have to pay the higher tariffs on importing them, which they'll pass on to you.
It depends on how you're buying them, right? If you are buying them from a store that's importing them here in the United States, then yeah, they're going to pay it, and you're going to pay it as a result. If you're the one importing it yourself, you'll have to pay the import fees, the tariff. So
yeah, and then what was the other? Oh, there was another story. What am I missing? Oh yeah, so and along those lines, I did see a lot of people were enjoying importing these Chinese gem pack booster packs. So again, the tariffs are going to hit you if you're trying to get these. But so China is releasing their second edition of the gem pack booster packs. These come with 4 holo cards, like the last one that released last year. Was it last year? Yeah, it was on January 17th that they released them. It had the Pokemon Horizons promos. This time for Gem Pack Series 2, it's going to feature Eevee and its Eeveelutions. So they revealed so far 4 of 8 exclusive Eeveelution cards that'll come in these packs, drawn by, you want to say it?
Nope.
Hyogonosuke. These are reprints from the Sword and Shield era, but with new artwork that will, again, probably be exclusive to China. So we won't get these anywhere else in the world. If you want to get these, you're going to have to import them. They've revealed the Eevee, the Umbreon, the Leafeon, and the Sylveon. They haven't revealed the Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, or Glaceon. But it looks like all of these are connected. So we'll probably see.
They all have really great art.
Yeah.
At least so far.
Yeah. So another Umbreon and Sylveon to chase. And these are the holo variations you'll get in the packs. One with like the energy types in the background, the one with the stamps and the different holofoil style. But yeah, it's kind of like the same thing that they did before, but this time for the Eeveelutions. So yeah, you're gonna have to pay more for these if you import them, unfortunately. So, but if you're an Eevee collector, you'll definitely want to get these, and they're pretty. Like I said, I like Cosmos holofoils, but if they, I would be interested in picking these up actually. So,
I definitely want the Sylveon.
Yeah, I know you would like that. A lot of people are gonna want the Umbreon because they associate it with money. So, I think that might be it for the week. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We had talked about on last week's Lost episode how the Switch 2, how tariffs were affecting that because Nintendo canceled pre-order, or they originally were going to have pre-orders for the Switch 2 in, what was it? Was it June or April? Yeah, it was going to open on April 9th, but, oh yeah, we're already past that. But they delayed it because of the tariffs. So
yeah, they're trying to figure out how it's going to impact their costs and their margins.
Yeah, so anyway, it's like the tariffs just keep changing constantly, the rules of them. So businesses just have to keep on their toes, I guess. And so I'm going to post an article next week on how this is affecting Pokemon businesses specifically, because there are very real effects on the prices of cards, and like we talked about Nintendo and everything. But anyway, all right. So I think that's it for the week. What should they comment if they got this far?
If they got this far, let's have them comment Umbreon.
Umbreon. Okay. That's a classic. And yeah, we will see the secret rares from Team Rocket, Glory of Team Rocket coming up this week. That'll be exciting. I really want to see that Mewtwo. I'm sure they put a lot of
so do I.
R&D or whatever into getting that artwork, just right. I'm sure they did a lot of drafts of that. So I'm sure it's going to look beautiful. But we will see you all next week. We hope you have a good week, and see you later for alligators. Or what do I always say?
See you later.
See you later. Bye, everybody.